Hi friends, you're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and today we're going to talk about court case magic and doing a working for, this is a free video for a patron. My Patreon will be linked below if anybody is interested in checking that out. I always try to help everybody on there, even if they can't afford a working, because they are supporting the channel through Patreon. So you know who you are, and this is for you, and I'm so glad that you asked. So one of my favorite things to work with, because for my whole life, I've, like when I was a kid, I grew up on a farm, and cow tongue is something that we not only, like we raised our own cows and we butchered them for food, but it's also absolutely delicious. The tongue and preserving all the animal parts are what we should do if we're going to, choose to eat the animal, in my opinion. So cow tongue, they're quite pricey. It's really large. It's a big old piece of meat. Looks just like a tongue, right? But gigantic. And they're about $25 in the shop that I go to. Now you might be able to go to a butcher and get them much cheaper. But like I say, they are something that is sought after for food. So they're able to charge a little bit more for that organ. Why do we use the tongue? Because it's communication. And what we're going to do to the tongue is for, if somebody is speaking against you in court, whether it be the prosecutor or you're in like custody issues or marital, like divorce, something like that, you'll take the cow tongue, and I've done a cow tongue working where you can actually see it. I'll try and link that below too. Link and tongue video. But on the in case that I need to help somebody for free, or one of my patrons, then, and I can't afford to get that $25 tongue, you can also use pig's tongue, lamb's tongue, deer tongue is quite traditional, but those are quite hard to find. Cow tongue's probably the easiest. Next to that would be pig. But I've dehydrated some pieces of cow tongue so that I can do communication workings, shut up workings, court case workings, etc. So they just dry out and they kind of look like jerky. And if anybody wants to purchase some dried cow tongue, just message me on my Etsy shop. I'll link that as well. So there's a lot of ways you can do this. I like the intuitive way best. When it comes to color magic, some people use blue candles, some people use red candles or black candles. I use brown candles. And thank you, Tess, for donating these brown candles to the channel. Before we go into the tongue, I just want to say a simple candle magic that you can do with just a brown candle. Now you can take this and anoint this with some court oil, or you can anoint it with, just olive oil and some herbs. Now Scott Cunningham suggests that the herbs that we might use for legal matters are buckthorn, Cassaria sagrada, celandine, hickory, marigold, and skunk cabbage. Marigold is also known as calendula, as far as I understand, and that's one thing that I have. So you could roll this candle in like any kind of oil, really, olive oil, just to get it anointed, and then roll it in some calendula or marigold or skunk cabbage, hickory, anything, buckthorn, anything you had from that list. And before you did all of that, you'd carve on the side, and sometimes I'll use a mechanical pencil, sometimes I'll use a toothpick. A toothpick works really good. But you would inscribe in the side, and it's just as easy as that. It doesn't have to be super legible. Inscribe the court case number, inscribe the person who's speaking against you, and speak your words in the law of attraction in future tense to say, so-and-so will not be able to speak against me. So-and-so, their tongue will be tied when it comes time to speak against me. And make your intention in future tense so that that's the way that it's burned into the universe. And as this candle burns down, your intention, that court case number, the person's names, birth dates, you could put a picture of them underneath this. That would be fantastic. That's just some simple candle magic there, and you can up it with the anointing and the herbs. Now, with the cow tongue, like if we're going to do a cow tongue working, if we had the actual tongue, we'd cut it open, we would put all the information we had inside, the judge's name, the lawyer's names, the court number, pictures of them, and you really want to add your intention into there. Now, also things that you might stuff into the tongue will be things that are hot and spicy. If we're using just dried bits, you can put it into a little jar with all of these ingredients and oil and shake it up. These are some red hot chili peppers that are homegrown. Sulfur is a really good thing to add to this to get them not to be able to speak against you. I can't even touch these. I used to use gloves, but whole dried habanero peppers, these are crazy. Just opening that jar makes my eyes just water and my nose my nose start to go. Another thing I dry out is cactuses that have spikes on them. You could put that in the cow's tongue, or chop that up and put it into this jar with dried cow's tongue. Thorns from bushes are very sharp. Monkey puzzle tree leaves, I keep those for sharp things. And if you do broken glass, I would suggest that you break the glass for the intent. So go grab a soda bottle or a beer bottle or an empty dressing bottle or whatever, glass bottle, and break it with that intent during that moment, and get those pieces of glass and put it into the tongue or put it under the candle. And because broken glass pieces, I think when you're holding it with the intent and then it shatters, that's when that really goes into that and makes it what it is and puts that special intention for that working inside of it. Now, another thing that I would suggest to do is to burn a 3-day candle, one of these glass votive candles. Let me get one really quick. Burn a 3-day candle. She has 7 days until the court case happens, or less than 7 days. Burn one of these with your intention, the court case number, everything like we talked about would be on this candle. Take the plastic off of this, get a Sharpie and write down the side everything that you want and say that this person will not be able to speak against me, and keep that candle going. This one lasts about 3 days. Keep it going until the case goes, and then make sure it's burning during the case. What else can we do to this? After you have all of your ingredients, the person's names, birth dates, court's numbers, sulfur, all of that, once you have that inside of the tongue that you've cut open, or all of those things inside the jar with the bits of cow tongue, or pig's tongue, or lamb's tongue, or deer tongue, whatever you're able to find. My suggestion then would be to bind the tongue itself with red 9 times. 9 is the number that resonates for court, for justice. Bind it 9 times and really add your intention when you're binding that up. If 9 times isn't enough to cover the tongue, go ahead and do 18 times, or 27 times, or 36 times, whatever increment of 9 that you feel, and go with what you feel. Go with what Spirit's saying at that moment. And as you're binding that, you're saying something to the effect of, like, I silence you so-and-so from speaking against me. Or you can talk directly to the universe like you're talking to the judge or to the lawyer or what have you. And say, this will go in my favor, and if you do speak against me, your tongue will burn. Now, this isn't anything that's going to, well, anyway. So if you have it in the jar and you don't bind the cow tongue itself, and you have all these ingredients inside your jar, bind the jar with the red twine, or whatever color you choose to use. It could be brown, red, blue, black. You add your intention to it, and it will be what you make it. So I'm going to upload this video now. If you guys have any questions, please do ask, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Have a great day, and, you know, we all want to stay away from court, and it's not a fun feeling to have. You could do an anxiety working to go along with this, and if anybody wants like a court anxiety working, just suggest it, ask for it, and I will do my best to get one out for you. So, Little Miss, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if my patrons, you know, they can't purchase workings, they are still supporting me, so I support them. And my Patreon's down below. Please check that out. You can join for as little as $1 a month and receive exclusive witchcraft videos that aren't really done on YouTube very much anymore. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks. Bye.